Welcome to This Week in Crowder College, an in-depth look into how Crowder College students, faculty, and staff are working together so students soar to new heights, communities are impacted, and lives are changed. This Week in Crowder College is sponsored by the law offices of Wood and Peterson in Neosho, specializing in workers' compensation, personal injury, Social Security disability, and more. Learn more online at neoshoattorney.com. Now here's this week's edition of This Week in Crowder College.
Hey there, Four States. This is Luke Taylor, and welcome to another edition of This Week in Crowder College. And so today we're going to welcome to the program Annie Smith. She is the theater director out there at Crowder College, and she has been on the program in the past. She's going to be telling us about a new production that's coming up here pretty soon. And so, hey, Annie, thanks for joining us once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And so I know I'll get the title wrong if I try to say it. I know it's called Bedtime Stories. What's the upcoming production?
Okay, well, and the full story, it's kind of a funny title because it really plays into the silliness of the show. The full title is Bedtime Stories as Told by Our Dad Who Messed Them Up.
All right. And I could kind of gather also from the poster and some of the stuff I read, this is really geared towards children. And what kind of story is it going to be for them?
Well, it's kind of just one of those stories that I think children can connect to, but I also think a lot of people who've ever cared for children can also enjoy a lot that is in the stories. I know as a parent who's read a lot of bedtime stories to my kiddos, I've really connected with a lot of that. But essentially, it's a story about a dad who has to get these three kids to sleep, and they want nothing but for him to tell them made-up stories, not from a book. But he has to do it by his methods and by their input as well. So some of the stories go a little awry.
Okay. And I was looking also at the cast listing, and you've got several children involved in this production. And what's it like working on kids on something like this?
Oh, it's always fun to have kids work in shows. Some of them have done plays before, and they come in with a lot of knowledge and ready to work. And others, it's a new thing. So we get to make it kind of an educational process. So we get to teach some of the younger actors about stage directions and the theater process and those kinds of things. And one of my favorite things is whenever we have breaks, often they'll get up and they'll be running around and playing tag or just having fun and being kids. And it's fun to have that level of energy around.
Yeah, I bet. And for a lot of kids out there too, this is an opportunity for them. If that's an environment that they flourish in, and this would be an opportunity for them to get a little bit of head start on learning how a theater works.
Oh, yeah. And some of them, like I said, they've studied or done other productions before. But if not, it's a great way just to kind of dip your toes in the water of theater and try it out. And it's a smaller group, and it's a fun group. It's very supportive. It's a good place to start.
Yep. So this production of Bedtime Stories as Told by Our Dad Who Messed Them Up, this is going to be coming up here on June 21st and 22nd. What are the times that people want to catch a showing of this?
Well, if they come on Friday, June 21st, we have one show at 7 p.m. And on Saturday, June 22nd, we have two shows. We have a matinee at 2 p.m. and another evening show also at 7 p.m.
Okay. And is this, I know it's kid friendly. I mean, how young is too young to come to the theater? Do you think, is it for all ages?
I would say it's probably for all ages. I always leave that up to families to decide. If their kiddos can sit still for about 80 minutes of a story, then I welcome them. And even if they have to get up and move around a little bit, I still welcome them. We enjoy, especially in educational theater, being able to share theater with people when they're young. I know some of my early memories were of going to the theater with my mom, and that kind of led me in my career path. And just the aspect of storytelling is just a lot of fun. It's a good, clean show, so parents don't have to worry about there being inappropriate language or violence or any of that. And it's just a lot of fun. If people would like to get tickets, they can call us at 417-455-5678, or they can be purchased online through the Crowder College bookstore.
Okay, and are people able to also get tickets on the day of the event, or do they need to get them ahead of time?
Yes. Tickets can also be purchased the day of. Our box office opens 30 minutes prior to each performance. Okay,
well, that is some good info to know. So, hey, thank you for that. And and so I think it does look like a lot of fun, and I'm sure a lot of kids and families are going to have a great time at this show. Again, the title is Bedtime Stories, and then I just like how the title is even laid out. Bedtime Stories, parentheses, as told by our dad, parentheses, who messed them up. And so,
yeah, it's almost one big dad joke throughout.
Right. Well, yeah, I can't even say the title without smiling. So I hope people will check that out. It's coming up June 21st, 22nd. You get 3 chances to watch it there. And we've been speaking today with Annie Smith, and she is the director of this production and also the director of the whole theater department over there at Crowder. And so, Annie, thanks for taking a little bit of time to tell us about this.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to This Week in Crowder College. This Week in Crowder College is sponsored by the law offices of Wood and Peterson in Neosho. You can listen to this broadcast again by going online to kneo.org or to crowder.edu. Tune in once again next week for another edition of This Week in Crowder College on KNEO 91.7 FM.
If you live within the broadcast area of KNEO Radio, we have a podcast just for you. The KNEO Community Connection keeps your finger on the pulse of what's coming up in the 4-state area, telling you about upcoming events you don't want to miss, organizations in our communities doing great work, and conversations with the dynamic citizens who are behind it all. There's a lot going on around you that you don't want to miss. This is Luke Taylor. Join me each week as we talk about what's happening with the people who are making it happen. Brought to you by KNEO Radio 91.7 FM and the Sky High Podcast Network. Subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts.